Hi everyone. Today we're going to be telling time and I'm going to show you how to do that in just a few steps. And today's time will be on the quarter hour, which means it might land on the o'clock, it might land on the 15 spot, it might land on the 30 spot, or it might land on the 45 spot. And I'll show you what that means. But the first thing you always need to do is to find the hour hand. How do you determine which one is the hour hand? Well, you might remember when I showed you these lessons with Judy Clock in class that the word hour is actually shorter in length than it is to the word minute. So this is a nice little trick to remember which hand is which. The word hour is shorter and the hour hand is shorter. The word minute is longer and the minute hand is longer on a clock. So that's just a nifty little trick to try to help you remember which hand is which. Step 1, after you find the hour hand, you're going to go to step 2. Determine which hour it is. And this can be tricky, especially when we get to move forward on the clock past the half hour up to the 45 quarter hour spot. After you determine which hour it is, you're going to count the minutes by fives, starting on the 1 and 4. Stop counting when you reach the minute hand. That's really important because if you just keep counting and counting, you're no longer reading the clock time. You're just counting into, well, I don't even know where you're counting to. So make sure you stop when you hit the minute hand. So let's practice a few here. Step 1, find the hour hand. Okay, the hour hand is the shorter hand. The hands of a clock move in this direction. You see me going around the clock? This is called clockwise. It goes always, all the hands go around the clock like this. And the hand that is the hour hand is the shorter hand. And I can see that this hand here is shorter than this hand here. So this must be my hour hand and this is my minute hand. Something I like to show you in class is if we were working on paper, you would take your pencil and stretch that hour hand past the edge of the clock. Because when it's before the numbers, sometimes it's hard to tell where it is. So this allows us to visually see where that hand is really pointing. It's between the 2 and the 3. Well, I remember that the hands of a clock go clockwise around and passing the 1, passing the 2. I'm between the 2 and the 3. I'm past the 2, so it must be after 2, but it's not 3 yet. So it's 2 something. So I know now that and I meant to tell you this, a little trick. You can pretend that you have to be nice to the little number. Anytime the hour hand is between two numbers like 2 and 3, you pick the smaller number. You got to be nice to the little guy. You take that smaller number and that's your hour. That will always work except for one instance, which I think I could, yes, it's on this page. I will show that to you later. So let me see. I'm going to grab a pen and show you that I've chosen my 2 as my hour, right? It was between the 2 and the 3. I choose the 2 because it's past 2, not yet 3. Or I can use the trick. Be nice to the little guy. Oh, I'm just 2. Be nice to me. You're 3. You got to pick me. So that's my trick. So I write down my hour, 2, and my colon. And now I have to find the minutes. To find the minutes, remember, we count by fives starting on the 1. I just want to put that back up here. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Stop there. Don't go past this minute hand. So the minutes are 30. And I write down my 30. So this clock is showing us 2:30. Let's go to the next one. Step 1, find the minute hand. No, step 1, find the hour hand. The hour hand is the shorter hand. This is the shorter hand here, so that makes this longer hand be the minute hand. And this is a nice one. It's pointing directly through the middle of the 9. So this hour is 9. And you don't have to circle it up on your paper like that, but I think it's helpful because now it's out of your brain and onto your paper. You know the hour is 9. And this minute hand is what we count next, and it's in the o'clock spot. When the minute hand points up to the 12, it is always the o'clock spot. And we write o'clock by writing 0, 0. So this clock is reading 9 o'clock. All right, let's go to number 3. Number 3, step 1, find the hour hand. Hour hand is the shorter hand. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. It's you. Okay, stretch this hand a little bit outside of the clock. And now I can see I'm between the 6 and the 7. I can use my trick. Be nice to the little guy. 6 is little. Be nice, take that 6. Or I can remember mathematically my hour hands travel around the clock like this. I'm passing the 4, I'm passing the 5, I'm passing the 6. Oop! I'm stuck between the 6 and the 7. I'm after 6, but not yet 7. So the hour is 6. It's 6 something. Pardon my handwriting. It's hard to write with a mouse. And then for my minutes, I count by 5, starting on the 1. Go. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So this is where my minute hand landed, and I said 30, so my minutes are 30. This clock is telling us 6:30. I would also like to point out, where's this eraser? I want to point out that you can kind of see that this hour hand is about halfway between 6 and 7, right? And the clock went halfway around, the minute hand went halfway around the clock. So it's halfway between, halfway around, 6:30. The farther the minute hand goes around the clock, the closer it gets to the next hour. I'll show you that. Let's go down to number 5 now. So for number 5, I need to do step 1, as always. For step 1, remember, it's find your hour hand. Okay, hour hand is shorter. Here it is. This is the one where the little trick does not work. I'm between I want to make this line dotted. I'm between the 1 and the 12 and the 1. 12 is a bully boss. He does not let the 1 get the hour. No, you can't have that hour. I'm the boss of this clock. I'm the o'clock spot. So he's not nice to the little guy. 12 and 1 just don't get along like that. It does not work for the trick. But if you remember the real mathematical reason why it is 12 something, that's because the hands go around the clock clockwise. I'm passing the 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Oop, I'm after the 12, but I'm not quite to the 1 yet. So it's still 12 something. I can stretch my line out to show you 12 is, gotta make a dot there. Here you go. 12. Hey, I lost my pen. 12 is my hour because I'm past the 12, but not quite to the 1. Okay, so it's 12. And my colon. And now I find my minutes. I count by 5, starting on the 1. Go. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. Okay, stop here. We said 45 when we counted around, right? So the minutes are 45. 12:45. And this is the one I really wanted to point out, how it can be tricky to read Once these numbers in the minutes start to get bigger, my minute hand's traveling farther around the clock. I'm getting very close to this next hour, but I'm not there yet. So be very careful. Stretch your hour hand through to determine which hour you're really reading. Sometimes it's going to point very close. Like look at this one. It's very close to the 9, but see how it's just after the 9? Come down here. This one is very close to the 11, but it's not quite there yet. And that's because the minutes are pushing so far around the clock, it's almost to the next hour, but not yet. So this one is still 10 something. So when you see that hour hand, stretch it out and really make a careful decision about which hour it is.